Just when you thought we talked about Shudder too much on this show, well, guess what? You haven't heard nothing yet. Shudder originals and exclusives on this episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast.
Attention planet Earth and beyond. Stay tuned for Attack of the Killer Podcast. 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 Yay.
Welcome, gang, to another amazing episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast. I am your host, Insane Mike. This is episode 261. On this show, we will be talking about Shudder. If you don't know what Shudder is, it is a streaming service for all things horror. Shudder began with an invite-only beta testing thing here in the U.S. starting in the summer of 2015. By October of 2016, Shudder was fully out of the beta testing and had expanded to Canada, the United Kingdom, and Ireland. Nowadays, Shudder has grown to be the best in streaming horror content. They have grown so much that they do a lot of their own original programming and exclusive releasing of different horror films from all over the world. Sounds awesome, huh? Shudder is so awesome that they even sponsor our show. Because Shudder is a sponsor of Attack of the Killer Podcast, we have the ability to give our listeners a free month of Shudder. So to get that free month, enter our promo code AOTKP. Get your first month for free. You're gonna get hooked, I promise. The films we will be discussing on this episode are Shudder originals and exclusives. Now, what is Attack of the Killer Podcast? If this is your first time listening, we are a horror movie podcast. We're a group of friends. We get together. We talk about horror movies within a certain topic. Now, we're just friends hanging out, talking horror movies, so there may be spoilers. If you like our show, consider joining our Patreon. Hold on a minute. This isn't your mama's Patreon. When you donate to our show, you become part of a special group of horror fans we call the Attackers. As an attacker, you get way more perks and benefits than most other podcasts. Shudder or Patreons. You get shout-outs on the show and the website. You can get an official membership card, certificate, and sticker. You get a lot more content, such as bonus episodes, various exclusive YouTube shows, such as video updates and Say Mike's Women in Top 10 list, killer critiques. There is so much we offer our attackers that there's just too much to talk about right now. So check it all out for yourself by going to the site. Go to jointheattackers.com. Again, that's jointheattackers.com and become an attacker today. Now is the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to introduce you to the podcast crew. If his life story was made into a movie, it'd be NC-17. It's just like The Crying Game, but with way more penises. Andy, everybody.
Hi, from me and my penis.
If his life story was made into a movie, it wouldn't be rated R because he's not a pirate, even though he has a pirate beard. Tad.
Hey, guys. Arg.
And if his life story was made into a movie, it'd be rated G. Jason!
Hey, everybody! How's it going?
It's because you're so childlike and innocent.
Thanks, I'm innocent.
Gee golly willikers.
Oh my. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning into this show. I appreciate it.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
You have nothing better to do? Why are you tuning into this?
What are you doing?
Fuck.
All right, so many people ask the crew, what do we do when we're not watching movies for the show? What we do in our spare time is, well, we watch movies. So here's Tad with what we watched.
It takes me by surprise every week. I always forget I have a segment. Jason, what have you watched?
Well, here's the thing. I haven't watched any movies since the last episode. I wanted
Not
to be
even the ones we're gonna talk about.
I know. I'm gonna fake this one. Just watch. See.
Call
Going
it
in.
But I will talk about. I have been watching a lot of Apple TV lately, and I just finished a show on there that I really, really love a lot, and it's called The Morning Show, and it stars Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, Billy Crudup, Mark Duplass, Juliana Margulies, and Steve Carell. Here's what it says: an unapologetic, candid drama that looks at the modern workplace through the lens of the people who help wake up America, pulling back the curtain on early morning TV. And so here's the thing. So Aaron Sorkin is like my favorite writer of movies and TV, and he's done like I love everything he's done, but he's done 3 shows that are kind of like this, that are kind of like behind the scenes stuff. The Newsroom, maybe you've seen that, or Sports Night, one of my favorites, or Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. I just love his writing so much, and so I think just by watching all of his stuff, it's made me enjoy this behind the scenes of TV stuff. And so this is really cool show. It's you get your normal the gamut of employees, from the guy who grabs coffee to the head of the network, and like it's super intense and super dramatic. And another thing that's great about the show is that it's set in our reality, but only like a few years ago. So like the first season is really about the Me Too movement and a lot of the bad shit that goes along with that, and how it affects these girls and this workplace and this television network. And holy fuck, it's great because it really doesn't shy away from the uncomfortableness of like showing all sides of it, and it's like pretty fucking crazy and smart and really important.
That all sounds boring.
No. Yeah. And yeah, and and then in the second season, it starts to get into a little bit of COVID is starting to happen, which is just kind of a backdrop of what's going on, but super dramatic, super fun. Well,
is it
fun.
Really fun? I was gonna say
it sounds like that back on the phone.
All the things we deal with every day in life. I can't wait to get to the COVID season. Woo!
No, it's interesting on a drama level. You just you start to love these characters and what's going to happen, and I don't know. I really like it.
I'm kind of interested in the simple fact that it's a show about making a show, right?
Yeah, it's behind the scenes. I
love movies or shows about making art, whether it be making a movie or making a show or whatever.
Yeah, and I think like, and the cast that they picked, a lot of the characters in there are playing out of their wheelhouse. I mean, Steve Carell's the big bad.
Oh wow,
that does the bad. Billy Crudup is like the super. I mean, he's the super powerful guy, but he's like really happy and smiley, which is like the opposite of everything I know about him. But yeah, it's really good. It's really good, really smart. So that's what I've watched. The Morning Show on Apple TV. Not a sponsor.
I have a friend here in Burlington. Her cousin, I believe, is on that show. So
yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's recommended it, and I'm a bad friend, and I have not watched it. Anyways, Andy, what have you watched?
I haven't watched much either, other than the movies, because I was partially on vacation and then I was partially doing
went
other
to Texas.
Shit. Yep, went to
hear
Texas.
about that.
Texas Sprite Mirror. It was fun. But getting back to the segment, I did watch Conversations with a Killer, the John Wayne Gacy tapes, which is creepy as hell. any of you guys don't know, that's a guy that killed and raped and molested, young boys in the Chicago area back in the mid to late 70s. And he probably did it while dressed up like a clown. So I'll let that, image marinate in your heads before you go to bed. But as I was, doing my work upstairs, I found out that Tubi has every single episode of Freddy's Nightmares, so I decided to check it out.
Yes.
Ugh.
Did I hear?
It's not good, guys.
Well,
it wasn't
well-
good back then, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't hold up today. But I don't care. I still think it's awesome.
Well, here's the deal. When I was watching and the like the Never Sleep Again thing, and these guys that they had a segment on there about Freddy's Nightmares, because I wanted to watch this Never Sleep Again before I went to Texas Frightmare because they had a Nightmare 3 reunion, and I just wanted just like a refresher course before I went there. But when they were talking about Freddy's Nightmares, they said that looking back on them, they weren't that good. Well, I'm here to tell you that they're wrong. They're fucking awful.
So bad,
Jesus
dude. So bad.
Christ.
Unwatchable.
I think what they did is they got a baboon. They put him in a padded room with a pen and paper, probably with a fifth of Jack Daniels, and whatever he wrote down probably became the script for a fucking Freddy's Nightmare episode. They probably said, "Here, you stupid bastard, write something." There's no coherent storytelling whatsoever. I mean, it's nice to see, Lori Petty and Diane Franklin. I mean, Bill Moseley and Brad Pitt were in the episode, but it's the drizzling shits. It's terrible television.
The drizzling
awful.
I started watching it too, but I didn't get very far because I just was like, "Oh, it's on here," and I clicked on an episode, and then was like, I'll watch this later. But did you watch the first one at all? The No More Mr. Nice Guy?
That's actually not bad.
But here's my thing. I started watching it, and I totally forgot about how the whole episode opens, where it starts off as a news report, and then, like, the screen goes to static, and, like, the guy disappears from the screen, and then reappears in front of the courthouse, and then doesn't know where he's at, and then he's given a microphone and a sheet, and then turns around and does a news report about the trial of Freddy Krueger. What the fuck was the point of the beginning of him being transported from one news thing to another news thing? That was weird. It didn't make any sense.
Well, the series is full of these moments. None of this shit.
I get that,
sense.
but I always thought in my memory is that first episode was the most coherent of the whole show, but apparently not.
Well, yeah, it sets the course for things to come. It only goes downhill from there, and that was directed by Tobe Hooper, by the way.
Oh yeah,
the first episode. But yeah, as I was, working upstairs, I kind of put it on to because I was doing stuff up there, and and I was working around things, and I, when you put stuff on that you can watch / not watch, kind of like white noise, and then you stop for a little while, you watch a little bit, and then and then you keep working. But even doing that was like rough. It was just like, what?
It's not even good enough for background noise. It's like
exactly, and it's, of course, it's Freddy. You kind of want to like it. I mean, I guess the only thing that I saw that they did was kind of somewhat good, like in the progressing episodes, is that they did have reoccurring characters come up in other episodes, like daughters of characters that had already died. And even though that these were different stories, they had they tried to tie in the fact that all this nasty shit was happening in Springwood. All this stuff happens in Springwood, which makes it like literally like the worst town in the world to live in. It's like worse than Haddonfield. It's worse than anywhere. Trouble is, it's probably some of the worst television I've ever fucking seen. but yeah, other than that, and then trying to and then getting the movies watched, I didn't, I guess I didn't have anything. I didn't have anything left in me because I just watched something so fucking awful that I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it anymore. But yeah, Freddy's Nightmares. Avoid it if you can, folks. But I mean, if it's like
Which you can, yeah.
yeah, I mean, but if you want a challenge, I mean, if you really want a challenge, it's on Tubi every single episode.
All right, Mike, give me something good.
Okay. I actually watched some stuff. So there we go.
Good.
I'll start with the most recent thing I watched. The boy and I went to the theater and watched Doctor Strange, The Multiverse of Madness. I take it from my fellow podcasters that I'm probably the only one who saw it.
Nope.
Oh,
Saw it
you
opening
saw it too?
night Thursday. Yeah.
What'd you? I thought it was awesome. I really thought it was great.
It was. I mean, obviously, have it Sam Raimi's to it. I mean,
Yes.
it's a Sam Raimi movie that is in the Marvel universe. First and foremost, they let him make a Sam Raimi movie, which is cool as fuck.
Yes.
But, and a big but, I think if this would have come out like 2 months ago, I would have probably really liked it. And I cannot help but compare multiverse movies. And I was like, man, this doesn't even begin to touch Everything Everywhere All at Once. So the timing, like I was like, it just, I'm not going to dwell on the negative. You go ahead and tell me what you thought.
I thought it was great. I will do my best to keep my mouth shut on spoilers, but I feel like you get some things that you want out of a Sam Raimi movie, and you actually, as a Sam Raimi fan, and you actually get those things. So I'll leave it at that. There's some just it was just really, I thought it was really great. Simon loved it. Every time we see a Marvel movie, I think we leave with bruises because every time there's like nods to things or cameos or whatever, we're just punching each other in the arms in excitement. And so there's a particular scene where he's just like, "Oh my god," and just hit me in the arm. He says it's his favorite movie. So we'll see how long that lasts, because it feels like...
I was gonna say, right now in time, Simon's favorite movie is a Sam Raimi film. Hold on to it.
Exactly. Well, I'm kind of excited now to see the Evil Dead movies. He actually knew who Ash Williams was, and I'm like, how do you know? And of course, it had to do with video games. So,
well, it's cool. It's like I mean, it's, again, not spoiling anything. It's definitely like it feels like Army of Darkness with Doctor Strange.
It really does, and it's got a lot of that Sam Raimi humor in it. That because like every Marvel movie has humor, and I feel like that style of humor is the Marvel movie style. But so you got that, but I also feel like it's got that Sam Raimi style of humor in it as well. Some of that kind of stuff.
Absolutely, slapstick, and
yep.
But also, horror comedy with it's really hard not to talk about it without spoiling things.
Exactly. So I should probably move on before I mess up. Anyway, so but check it out. I also watched a documentary called Mail Order Murder: The Story of Wave Productions. Came out in 2020. Anybody seen this? Anybody even know what I'm talking about when I say Wave Productions?
No.
Can't say that I do.
Okay, check this out. It's a documentary about the infamous New Jersey-based horror and custom video company Wave Productions. Wave was a no-budget film company that would allow its fans to script and finance custom movies. So they were mail order movies. You would write to Wave with your check or whatever, for whatever their fee is, on what you want for a movie, and they would make it for you and mail it to you. And it's interesting because seems to be a lot of fetishes going on in some of these movies they ended up having to make. It was a cool doc. Definitely check it out. I just love documentaries about this kind of stuff, just because I always find it so inspiring, and it makes me want to get back to shooting something. So check it out. And then in true Insane Mike fashion, the other thing that I've watched was more just trash cinema from 1992. It's on Shudder. Winter Beast. This was a movie that was released back in the day when Tempe Video was around, and they would have mail order. You can mail order their catalog of movies. And I know this one was one that I never got around to seeing or ordering, but I remember it in their catalog. The film is very, very, very no budget, do it yourself. It's very poor quality, poor acting, poor directing, poor production, everything. The film makes no sense, but so let me see if I can try to explain the story. People are being killed off near a populated mountain lodge, with a legend claiming that the mountain is haunted by deadly Native American demonic curses. There's a lot of cool creature designs and some fun, cheesy, bad stop motion animation going on. So to me, it's worth it for all of that stuff. But I find the nonsensical, bad choices that are made and confusing choices that are made in this movie a lot of fun to watch as well. Just like with bad screen direction, weird set designs and all kinds of just weird decisions that I don't get. And it just feels like whoever edited the film also was not given a script, if there was one, when they edited it, because the sequence of these scenes make no sense whatsoever either. So if you dig that stuff, I highly recommend checking it out. If you like stuff like Birdemic and whatnot, it's, to me, as much as I love Birdemic, I understand how literally cringing it is to watch at times for probably a lot of people, probably most people, probably all people. So I don't feel like this is as bad as that, but I also still feel like I can put it on that level. So yeah, but that's what I watched.
Excellent.
And Ted,
I guess-
what'd you watch?
Let me see what I hated this week. It feels like everybody's
Aw.
down on things. No, I've watched a lot for some reason. I watched Doctor Strange also, and I let my opinion be heard, but I enjoyed it. And, if you're into the Marvel movies, you're going to watch it. If you're not, it would not make much sense. You need to watch WandaVision to really understand it. So,
Oh yeah, that's right. That was probably,
Yeah.
if I were to say anything negative about it, you cannot go in blindly on this movie. You have to know. It is so connected to everything.
it is the 28th film, I think, in the Marvel universe, so you need to know your shit going in, or it will be confusing as fuck.
Yep.
I'm ready.
Yeah, so let's see. I'm just going to go for most recent, what I watched. You'll be hearing a podcast on this one soon. Vincent Price and Roger Corman's The Pit and the Pendulum for the first time.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was a really fun, cool, unique movie. I had it on my list forever. It's part of the Vincent Price Collection Volume 1. I'm trying to whittle that down, so be doing that one on my podcast here soon. On the other end of the spectrum, I watched the animated movie The Bad Guys in theaters on Sunday with my niece. Obviously her pick, and it wasn't too bad. It had a good message, sort of a cutesy little movie. It's like all the animals that people are afraid of. It's like a shark, a wolf, a tarantula, snake, and a piranha are this group of animals that go on these heists and steal and rob, and everybody is terrified of them. And then when they get a taste of people not being prejudiced against these animals, it's like, oh, we can be good guys. And yeah, it's a message of like, don't judge a book by its cover, basically. I watched Joe Bob Friday night. He did Black Sunday and Death by Temptation, which was new to me, very new. I had never heard of this movie. Have you guys seen it?
It's a vampire movie.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Like
I've seen it.
a black vampire movie.
it's a trauma acquisition that definitely does not fit into
No.
trauma.
No, and Joe Bob talked a lot about that and how when it hit the festival circuit, people were saying the director's the next Spike Lee, and it got all kinds of accolades and was getting all kinds of awards. And then it was like Troma picked it up, and Lloyd Kaufman, he filmed a part of the end, and he was so terrified because he thought the movie was so good that he was going to ruin it. Sort of funny little, talk from Joe Bob. A lot of great, interesting information about this one, and of course, tons of great info on Black Sunday as well. One of my favorites from discovering it on the show is on. I think it was on my. It was my pick for one of the Unwrapped episodes because I have that Bava box set.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, going way back, we watched Night of the Living Dead and Anthropophagus on Joe Bob last week. That was a really cool double feature.
That was a great episode of Joe Bob. That's probably one of my favorites in a long time.
The longest one he's done, I think. It was 6 hours long, the episode was. So, I mean, he had Svengoolie on.
Yes. That's one of the reasons why it's one of the best episodes.
And then the second segment, he had his former male girl, Honey, on. So, really cool to both episodes. I guess it's one episode, but the whole thing was really cool, both segments. A lot of fun. And then I've started, but I've only got one episode into the Paramount Plus series, The Offer. You were talking earlier about a show about making a show. The Offer is the miniseries about making The Godfather, which is told from the perspective of Ruddy, who's a producer on it, Miles Teller. It has Dan Fogler plays Francis Ford Coppola. It has Marlon Brando, played by Justin Chambers. It has a really great cast. It's really well made. I think it's like 3 or 4 parts, and each episode's like an hour and a half, maybe something like that. But I've only seen the first episode. I don't want to binge it, and I just got other stuff I need to get to. But it was the first episode was really good, and I love movies about and series about making television and movies, and the story is fascinating. I knew nothing really going in to this, and I'm learning a lot about how like the novel The Godfather was sort of controversial because this author was telling the secrets behind the mafia, and the mafia wanted to go after him, and Paramount wanted to make this movie, but they're afraid that the mobsters were going to come after them. And then Francis Ford Coppola didn't want to make it because he thought he'd be crossing the Italians, and that's just the first episode. So really cool stuff to see behind the scenes of how this all works and how people get, this Al Ruddy guy basically got thrown The Godfather as like almost a punishment. Like, you have one more chance to make a movie somehow, and it seemed like the impossible book to turn into a movie. And of course, now we know the history of The Godfather is, regarded as one of the best films of all time. And yeah, so cool. Check that out. It's on Paramount Plus. That's what I've watched.
All right. Thanks, Ted. Sweet. So it's Twitter time. Time to vote for which one of us has the best answer to our latest question here on Pole Position.
From now on, like your parents were, you are the secret force of Pole Position.
All right, let's take a quick look back. And it was the episode that we weren't on there, Mike. The question was, what is the best horror film distributor? So you can't lose this time, Mike. That's good.
Of course I lost. I wasn't on the episode.
Do you remember your answers?
We all won.
I'll tell you. Brian Clark says American International Pictures. Andy says Blumhouse. Ted says A24.
Did you two vote?
I did. Mike? Yeah,
Yeah.
Poor Brian. He got 15% of the vote.
Aww.
And the winner with 54% of the vote, Ted A24. Yeah. That happens. I mean, those are all good picks.
I think I said Ravens banner for my second one.
And Ted was like, what the fuck is that? It was so funny.
and then I told him.
And then he's like, oh, yeah, okay, that's good.
The thing is I know you've talked about Ravens banner before because I have like I'm in my on my laptop in my notes. I have little section all the way at the top of just like random notes from things that people bring up on the show, and I have Raven's banner in those notes.
Well, all right, let's get into this week's burning question of pole position. And the question is, what other streaming services besides Shudder has the best horror content? We're going to do our random sequence generator to determine the order of picking in these 2 rounds of fun. We got Mike being 1, I'll be 2, Tad's 3, and Andy's 4. Let's get our order here. Oh my gosh, I get to go first, finally. And then Andy gets to go second, and then Tad gets to go third, and then Mike 4th and 5th. All right, so I'll go first. I'm gonna I'm going Tubi.
Damn it! That's why I wanted to go first. I knew somebody was going to take that
I actually
from
had
me.
another one, but man, it's hard not. There is so much shit on Tubi.
There is, man.
Its catalog is gigantic.
It's endless.
And it's also got Dark Side of the Ring on there too.
Also true.
Yeah. And like here lately, just like, okay, so I started using Brandy's account for Tubi.
Oh, thank God.
I know, right? You're welcome.
Mine's already ruined, but go ahead.
You're welcome. Well, now I've ruined hers.
Good, yeah.
She made the mistake. I asked her. I'm like, well, if you want me to use your Tubi, can I add to the list? And she's like, sure.
And ruined.
Yep.
But Mike doesn't know that it's free, and he could just start his own account, but that's a lot of work.
That is too much work. Anyway, but I found all the Santo movies. All the freaking Santo movies are on Tubi.
Yeah.
I'm watching those a lot
Mm-hmm.
lately, too.
All right, Andy, you get pick number 2.
I will go with Scream Factory TV.
Oh,
There's
dang, that's a good one.
Night
I
of the
forgot about
Demons, Hell Night. You can watch all the, basically all this. You can stream all the stuff that they basically have released out on, Blu-ray, and then they wait for about 4 months, and then they release them on 4K to make you spend more money. But,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, anything and everything is, on there. I mean, you can watch old TV arcade shows. I mean, Carol Burnett. I mean, it's just like there's such a wide array of stuff on there, but a lot of horror, a lot of good cult films, and just it's a cool channel in general.
I don't want to sway the audience's votes at all, and I don't want Jason to get more votes.
Right.
But you can access all of the Shout Factory stuff on Tubi too.
It's so handy. All right, Ted, pick 3. What's your pick?
I mean, can I go with AMC Plus because it has all the Shudder? No, I probably shouldn't go that.
It's cheating.
Yeah, it is cheating. I guess I will go with Peacock because they have the Universal Library. They do new
good
films,
call.
so they got Halloween Kills out this Friday. They have Firestarter. Firestarter hits it first, in theaters and streaming there at the same time.
Oh, on Peacock, huh?
Yeah, and they have all the Friday 13th films, all the Nightmare on Elm Street films, all the Child's Play films, and
Never heard of them.
the Child's Play Chucky series. It's surprisingly pretty damn good. And like I said, the original Universal monsters. How can you? No one else has those because it's Universal.
All right, Insane Mike, you're on the turn. You get pick 4 and 5.
All the good ones are gone now.
Oh man, I got such a big list.
Really? Oh, I had a hard time. I'm gonna go with.
At least you're sure.
Well, here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
As Jason would say, here's the thing. It's personal, right? Like no one's gonna vote for me because these are personal picks. Because the good ones were taken. But I'm gonna go with Midnight Pulp.
It's a good one.
It is a really good one. I've strayed from Midnight Pulp lately because I feel like they've been moving more of their content to their paid service, and there isn't as much of the free stuff on there anymore. But man, a lot of great Asian cinema, and just a lot of great cult and grindhouse films too.
Yeah,
So,
Nazi exploitation and shit like that.
yep, yep. So it is like almost to the point where I'm like, maybe I should just go ahead and do the paid service, but haven't pulled that band-aid yet. But yeah, Midnight Pulp. Oh, and then I get to go again, huh?
Yep.
Well, let's see. I'm just gonna go ahead and say Pluto TV.
I love
Pluto's
that.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Not even on demand. I love their horror channels. Like
Yeah.
if I'm
Yep.
sitting down to eat and I don't want to commit to a movie, just throw in a horror channel and it's like, oh, Devil's Rejects is playing. Oh, and it's not
Yeah.
even like mainstream. It's like some pretty deep horror cuts. It's pretty rad.
They do get some deep cuts, and it is cool because it is something like after you have flipped through Shudder or Netflix or Hulu for an hour, and you're just like, I just want something for the background, and then you just go to Pluto. It doesn't even matter if it's in the middle of a movie, and I don't know. There's something kind of cool about that. Maybe nostalgic of like.
With commercials too. Yeah.
With commercials where you're forced to watch it from wherever it is because it's live streaming, so it's like just back in the day when all we had was cable and you had to try to get sat down in front of the TV at the right time to catch it from the beginning.
It's why we love Shudder TV. It's
And
just
because they
on.
have that too.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Mm-hmm. And plus you have like, personally for me, you have like the Riff Tracks and Mystery Science Theater 3000 channels.
Oh, so
They're
many
awesome.
channels.
Yeah, so many channels. So that's my second pick.
All right, 10, pick 6. What you got?
HBO Max.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
They have some Stone Cold classics and a lot of the newer stuff. They have a mix of I think like the Alien franchises on there. They got The Exorcist. They got a lot of the Blumhouse early stuff. And they've done some new releases. I mean, Malignant was like first on there,
Yeah.
when
The
it hit
Batman.
theaters. Yeah, I mean,
I just have to.
let's not go there. But just we're not talking superheroes anymore, okay? But HBO Max, yeah, I mean, in general, not just horror, but just a freaking awesome streaming service. Probably the best out there, I would argue. I mean, other than since we're not, we can't mention Shudder
Right.
excluded.
right,
That's
right.
what our whole episode's about. But
Yeah.
if HBO Max wants to sponsor us,
Yeah, that would be awesome. I love it too because it's got it's got all the DC stuff, but I guess you just said we can't talk about superheroes now. But I also really like the Turner Classic movie stuff, so you get a lot of cool stuff from that as well. Some Criterion stuff is in there, and like it's awesome because Turner Classic movies, you think like, oh, this is gonna
Old
be stuff.
fogey.
This is gonna be stuff like Casablanca and whatnot, but it has like all the Godzilla movies, and that's what's awesome.
All right, Andy, pick 7.
Well, a lot of the good ones are gone, I think. This is a bit of an odd pick, and this won't help me win, but screw it, I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm just gonna draw attention to it. It's got a lot of the goofy ass Ginger Dead Man kind of stuff on it and shit like that, like the really low budget cheesy stuff on it. But Mutant Sorority, have you guys heard of this?
I have I've flipped through that before. Yeah, it definitely has some good stuff.
Yeah, and it's got some older stuff on there too. I mean, it's like you can watch like female vampire versus werewolf. I mean, just really, really weird, obscure shit. It's probably not very good, but at least you can say that you could actually I've seen it. But yeah, they pick up good stuff as well too. So, but yeah, that's just another one that you might flip through and check out.
Well, all right. I can't believe this one got back to me. There's actually a couple. It's kind of hard to choose from. I'm going to go with this. This is one I don't have or never have, but I've always heard about it, and is probably the most comparable one to Shudder, and that is Screambox.
Yeah, I've never checked that one out.
Haven't either.
It's all horror, guys.
Huh.
All horror. It's
I
pretty awesome.
I shall check it out.
Should. Yeah. Pure horror. For the best viewing experiences, you should use. Okay, whichever. Award-winning indie films, classics, and newly discovered filmmakers. Screenbox. All right, we did it. Everybody get your butts over to Twitter at AOTKP. Get your votes in. Who picked the best alternatives to Shudder apps? Let us know, and that is pole position.
All right, awesome. So I think now maybe it's time to get into talking about some Shudder movies, right?
Good call.
Thanks. Well, since you gave me that compliment, why don't you go first, Jason?
You got it. Okay, man. I'm so excited about this movie. I
Me
loved
too.
it so much. I hate doing the comparing the three films we talk about because it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter.
But this is the best one.
This
Go
is
ahead.
clearly
and say
the
it.
best one of the movies we watched. So I hate to start it out early on this. But it's from last year, 2021. It's called See For Me.
Hey, sweetie, you okay? There's this new app I heard about, and it could be handy in case you need
Okay, I'll check it out.
Just a little step.
Yep, I got it. Hi. Hi. Please, come in. All of Archie's food is in the pantry. I can show you.
No, I'll
where
find it. Thanks.
Ciao.
Download C for me.
Hey, what can I do for you?
Hi, I'm locked out. Do you see a way I can get back in?
Let's move around the perimeter. You're right in front of a sliding glass door. Can you feel it? Be careful, Sophie.
Someone's here.
Hey, how can I help you?
It's me, Sophie. There's people in the house. They're looking for me.
Just stay calm. Where are they now?
Close.
If you stay down, you can make it. We need to get you to the basement and wait for the cops.
Is there anything in my way?
Wait, Sophie, wait!
She dialed 911 12 minutes ago.
You said the place was gonna be empty.
I can get rid of the cops.
And why would you do that?
Who's gonna suspect the little blind girl, right? Could you open the door, please?
They're gonna kill you.
No one's going anywhere.
I swear we can do this. You just need to trust me.
He's in the room.
Let him get a little closer to you. Inhale. And on my mark, fire!
A group of thieves break into the luxurious, secluded mansion that Sophie is house sitting. Sophie, a visually impaired former skier, must rely on Kelly, an Army veteran living across the country, to help her fight back. Dudes, I love this movie. It was
Yeah.
so awesome.
I'm
Directed,
sad I didn't see it for the year-end episode.
oh, I
last
know, me too. It would have been a contender.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Randall Okita. It's a Canadian film.
year.
Thank you. And holy moly, it was fantastic. It's also got Kim Coates in it as far as horror royalty.
And some really good winter coats also.
Also true, yes. Jesus Christ. Like I said, it stars Skylar Davenport, who is actually blind. And she was
Oh, is
great.
she?
Was
Yeah.
she? Oh, wow.
I thought I read, she had a stroke at one point and lost her sight for it.
I thought she blinded herself for this film, but
Gouged her own eyes out.
Not true. Not true.
don't be ridiculous, Andy. We saw her eyes.
They can be glass.
Anyways, Jason.
Yeah, it was so good because, like, I mean, at first she's kind of a snotty little shit, and you're like, maybe I want her to die, but then like she's cool, and it really does such a awesome job of putting you in. You're really going through it with her. You know, she's having a hell of a time, and it plays on the fun things that your blind movies have. Oh yeah, so legally blind due to a stroke and rare neurological condition.
What I loved about it was
Thank you.
something that you haven't touched on yet.
Oh,
that she is not innocent in this situation either.
No, that
she goes.
is really
she goes
cool.
in. Yeah, right away we learn like her mom's questioning her how she got this money. I got this really big tip from a rich person watching her house. Then she gets to the house and is using a friend to look up these wines at the house. And she's like, oh, I'm going to steal this wine because no one's going to suspect or even accuse a blind girl of stealing expensive wine. And then further into the movie, she is going to side with these guys. And it looks like she's going to be in on it, which adds a whole sort of unique twist that it's like even the person you're rooting for is not necessarily innocent. And, they're really only, it's sort of weird. The only guy only person I almost felt for was the guy that was breaking the safe. He was sort of like,
he's
he's
the only sweetheart in the movie.
Right. And I mean, even the girl that's on the other end of the See For Me app, there's, she obviously had some military training stuff, but she sort of, they never dig into it, but she hints that she's done some shit in her past too. Like when she's talking to her and she shows her how to get that sliding glass door open, she's like, how do you know how to do that? And she's like, I'm not perfect either. Like I had stuff in my past and I hope I didn't just help a girl break into a house. But it's cool that I thought it could have just been as simple as this blind girl is stuck in this situation. But they made it more complex. And I really thought that was great.
Yeah, it came across to me as like the bizarro version of Don't Breathe.
Oh yeah.
Which was weird because the girl on the other line was always telling her to breathe. I agree with everything that you guys said, and like that the guy trying to crack the safe was like, when like right when they brought her into the room, they were kind of being rough with her. He's like, what are you doing? I mean, he was just there to do his heist and do his job, and these other guys were just being kind of jerks and But yeah, it's just the development of the characters was really well done. It just wasn't this sheepish, scared blind girl. I mean, even disabled people have very bad character flaws, and she had one. So it humanizes her a little bit better. It's not your atypical just helpless girl that's has a an impediment, I guess I should say. But yeah, just the way that the characters were drawn out, and Kim Coates was I think he was just on the phone and then he appeared, right? So he wasn't there very long, but always good to see him. But yeah, I liked it. I liked it for what it was. I thought it was a good movie.
I really enjoyed it too. I thought it was great. I liked the relationship between Sophie and Kelly, the girl that that scene where she gets locked out and she calls that app for the first time and talks to, well, not for the first time, I guess, but when she gets Kelly, it's the first person she talked to on that app, or didn't work out. She kind of was really frustrated with her, but when she got Kelly, there was obviously a little bit of a connection there. And then when and I liked seeing that relationship grow just over the phone, and the whole device of basically this person on the phone being her eyes as she's trying to go through the house, or when she's trying to shoot that guy, and her telling her to like point the gun this way, and that was just a really cool, really neat story device there.
Yeah,
that I thought
they
was really
gave
unique.
Kelly the video game experience
Yep,
backstory,
right out
which
of the gate, showing her
really
playing games. Yeah.
showed it, and then showed it as she helped guide her gun. That was really great. I like the misdirection of that first time when she finally gets back in and gets to the code to turn the alarm off, and like we see Kelly see the password to this house. I'm like, oh shit, what does that mean?
Yeah, am I the only one that thought maybe at one point that the twist was going to be like that Kelly was also in on it?
Could have.
But yeah, and it wasn't, and I'm glad because I really liked the Kelly character a lot in this movie.
Yeah, she went back and forth. It was a great arc, Yeah, her deciding to help make the police go away. To holy shit, I can't get out of this, and I need to get out of here, and it was good.
Well, and it's also interesting too, right? Because when the cops do show up, Sophie and the criminals almost get away with it.
Yeah.
But then Kelly intervenes, not knowing what's going on at that point because they lost connection.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's Kelly's fault that things went south, even though she's obviously doing the right thing and trying to help Sophie. Yeah, but in turn does help Sophie because it keeps her from going down that dark path with helping the criminals and stealing that money.
I also really liked the score a lot in this one. It was really good.
Yeah, it's a good score. Cool.
Shudder.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised by this one. I mean, the poster looks like something I should. I don't know why it sort of everybody missed it last year. It feels like, but really cool and unique. And I'm even didn't look into it, and now hearing that she actually was blind makes a whole lot of sense because her performance was great, and I know that can be really tough to pull off. So without looking hokey and I like that it was like treated realistically. I did sort of question like, did we really need the whole like skiing thing? I know at the end it was sort of like, look, she's skiing again with, and happy ending. She has that bag of money, but it's like, I don't know why we needed to have like a happy ending to it like that. I don't know, but that's not even. I shouldn't even complain. It was just great all around. Mm-hmm. I'll check it out again. It's something that I would recommend to people.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. All right, Tad, well, what is our next film we're going to talk about?
Our next movie is from 2019, and it is The Furies.
It's a game. There's only one way out. Win.
It's like I'm seeing through their eyes.
They've put these in our heads. I think that they're watching.
Okay, The Furies. A woman is kidnapped and finds herself as an unwilling participant in a deadly game where women are hunted by masked men. I believe I watched this one for the 2019 year-end episode, or I know I watched it at some point. I did not have many good things to say about it. I have less good things to say about it this time. It's a movie. There's about 30 that do it better, the story. So I know Andy liked it. So sell it to me, Andy.
Well,
Sorry to put you on
did.
the spot.
Oh no, it's fine. It was in my top 10 of 2019. I do remember that. I really dug the idea that you got one masked guy hunting um, uh, the other girls, and then you have one of each one of the masked men are assigned to protect the girls, and this is all done with I guess eye implants, and what these girls are seeing is then I guess fed into virtual reality devices. So I mean, it's just it's like you're experiencing being part of a snuff film, as or being the killer as well. Um, I really enjoyed the kills, particularly with the axe to the face, where it's not just your traditional, okay, you slam the axe down on the girl and you kill her. I mean, it's not like that. It's long, it's drawn out, and it's brutal because he holds her up against a tree and literally just pushes the blade into her face and forcefully just literally slices and just pushes the blade across her face and just slices her face off. And to me, that's one of the most unique and cool slasher kills that I've seen in a long time. Um, I guess maybe they could have made the guys in the masks a little bit more. I mean, they were unique, but I guess when there's too many of them, it kind of waters down. It may water it down a little bit, and I, I don't know. It doesn't ruin the movie for me. I mean, I had a good time with it. I'm curious as to why Tad dislikes it so much. I mean, I can understand why you might dislike it, but I don't understand why you dislike it that much. But to each their own. I mean, I understand.
We just watched a better version a few weeks ago, The Running Man.
Well, okay, that's fair.
I mean, I hated Rob Zombie's 31. That's better than this. It's a better version of this.
Oh wow!
Oh, wow, that's boring.
That's harsh.
I agree with that.
Whoa!
At least
I
it
like
has
31 though, so it's not about not like.
I see. I didn't mind 31. I thought it was all right.
I hated 31.
That's too bad.
Well, hated's harsh, but yeah.
So I guess for me, all the plot points, I guess maybe I'm too dumb because like I didn't think they did a great job of explaining.
Nope, you're not dumb. It sucks.
The why the killers protect one and that whole thing. I mean, I'm not that's cool.
They got bombs in their heads. I mean,
I didn't get that. I mean, I got
was
when their heads
was that explained or just randomly when they would lose, you'd see their heads blow up?
I think once they lost the one that they're supposed to protect.
We're only getting what these girls deduce.
Yeah,
and
so we're left deducing a lot as well.
You said deucing,
and
I knew that was.
This movie is a big deuce.
But it seemed like an excuse to make some really cool killer dudes with cool, fun masks and do lots of fun kills, and all that shit was awesome.
Oh yeah, down with that.
It's just too bad didn't have a good story. But the kills and the killers were fucking cool.
It felt like it was, I don't know, maybe the quality of it. It's like it looked like a Sci-Fi Channel movie.
Damn.
Oh, not that bad.
The look of it. I mean, the cinematography. Did it not? The cinematography. It just looks so amateurish and not. To me, if you can't get the good look to it, do it in almost like shaky cam, found footage. I mean, that's what Zombie did for 31. It's like,
and I couldn't tell what the freak was going on in 31 because of that.
Right. Do it in this, and then we don't see how bad it is because I can't see shit.
But Tad's really spot on about that. They even have like a perimeter thing in this film too. They can't cross the perimeter, or it screws with like it's like the same way that they did running the prison in Running Man.
Or go check out The Hunt. I mean, I'm just trying to think of all these versions that did it. that did it better. Sorry, like
$17.5 million budget.
holy shit, that's a lot of money on this.
Australian
for a small cast,
film.
and yeah.
Yeah, it must have all went to the cool Slipknot mask budget.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Which was cool.
Slipknot's cool.
I love that's insulting Slipknot. I'm sorry, Slipknot. I
Oh,
would say,
Jesus.
like they whoever did the costuming is probably like a juggalo, and he drives a huge truck.
See, what Tad doesn't know is he's still selling the film.
Yeah.
People are the Bretts are going to go right to it if he hasn't already. Oh,
well,
shit.
I don't know what to
What do you
say
think,
now.
Mike?
I don't
Since
know.
you love this movie.
I didn't say I love it.
Oh, let's see it.
I feel like I know I'm above Tad's level.
Well,
I know
Can't be below.
Can't be.
I'm pretty
below.
sure I'm above Jason's level, but I'm totally not there at Andy's level because there's a lot there that is cool.
Sure.
Yeah, there's some great kills, some cool gore.
Yes.
I freaking love. I'm with you, dude. I freaking love that. That is the coolest scene of the whole movie of him sliding that axe blade across her face and just slicing her face off like deli meat. It's freaking awesome. I like the Juggalo masks myself. I thought that all the killer designs were cool looking. I dug that. Conceptually, I thought it was cool, the whole concept of it. And again, if you're comparing it to things like The Hunt and Running Man, and I get all that. I agree with you. I like the idea that this movie tried, and I'm saying tried, to take it in a newer direction by adding the VR element to it. I think there's a cool idea in there somewhere, but this execution maybe wasn't fully there. I mean, at the end of the day, I liked this movie, but a week from now, I'm not going to remember it. This is not going to be a movie that is going to stand out for me down the road as I'm flipping through Shudder again and be like, oh yeah, I watched that. What else is on?
When you put it on the list, I remembered it because me and Andy already had this talk at the year-end episode 2 years ago.
Well, I obviously forgot about that discussion. This is going to be how.
So did I.
So it just feels like there's a lot of cool things in here that could have made it an amazing movie that could be like one of my favorite movies of this decade or whatever, but it dropped the ball somewhere, and I'm not exactly sure where. I think maybe Jason hit it on the head for me as far as like the fact that it is confusing because we're not, as and we don't need to be told everything in movies, right? I understand that. And sometimes less is more, right? But when you have such an over-the-top concept like that, you're going to need to explain some things to us and not just leave us in the same position as these characters. And also, at the end of the day, the girls being hunted, I didn't really give two shits about. That has a lot to do with it, too. Like, those girls, there's nothing that they're just so, you can just take one out and replace it with another one, and I would not have known the difference. So that makes me disconnect from the movie as well. So that probably has something to do with it. It's just too bad because I watched the trailer, and that's why I picked it.
Oh, I bet the trailer was awesome.
The trailer was great, and it really sucked me in. I'm like, I'm seeing all these cool killers with masks. There's obviously some kills and some gore going on, and there's obviously something else going on as far as this being some kind of game. And so I'm like sucked in with that, and then it delivered things, but it delivered them poorly. I guess maybe I don't know. So at the end of the day, I liked it, but it's just gonna be lost in the shuffle down the road. Where it could have probably been something that could have been amazing. Anyway, that's my thing. But Andy, what's our next movie?
Our next movie comes to us from 2019, and it is called Yummy.
Welcome at Klinika Krovchik.
Hi.
We always help to make world more beautiful.
Alison Jassops?
Isn't it prohibited to drink coffee in an
He's
OR?
professional.
Wie zijn nu eens rustig?
What the fuck was that?
Dr. Kravchuk is very brilliant surgeon.
You're in the best place, in perfect hands.
Wait, stop. Stop immediately.
Michael, maar wat is er?
Het is hier niet oké, we moeten hier nu weg.
Sta mee!
Stop the operation right now, Fuck! I saw a man eating a man.
You saw a man eating what?
Relax. You should make the best of the little time we have left. Hey, wacht even! Chop it off! Do it! Sorry.
So, is this what you want?
Okay, Yummy is an orgy of blood, violence, and fun in which a young couple travel to a shabby Eastern European hospital for plastic surgery, and shabby is putting it very fucking mildly. The young woman wants a breast reduction. Her mother comes along for yet another facelift. Wandering through an abandoned ward, the boyfriend stumbles upon a young woman gagged and strapped to an operating table. She is the result of an experimental rejuvenation treatment. He frees her, but he does not realize he just caused the outbreak of a virus that will change doctors, patients, and his mother-in-law into bloodthirsty zombies. Okay, like most zombie movies, there's not a lot of thinking involved once things get going. You just, you hold on and have fun. And that's exactly what I think this movie is. It's just fun. It's basically your slapstick zombie comedy, but I mean it's got some great blood, gore, and violence in it. Our hero, that's the boyfriend of the woman that's getting the breast reduction. I mean he's just such a lovable dimwit, but he's such a klutz. But awesome. I mean, the cool thing about it is that you're rooting for him. You want this guy to win.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I
felt so bad for him through the whole movie. It almost kind of
right?
ruined it for me. On how much like this poor guy can't catch a break.
I mean, yeah, he cannot catch a break no matter, and
right
he
until
wanted
the
to
end.
be yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which I'll get to the end. You've got a lot of different characters in here. Of course, you have the doctors. Of course, in this case, you never really can trust a doctor in a zombie movie, can you? They're not very trustworthy. But I mean, there was a scene when they're trying to make an antidote or whatever. Great funny stuff there with they're trying to chop one of the doctor's arm off because he's infected. He raises the axe and then the head of the axe just flies off, so he can't do that. And then there's a great scene where the doctor just he says fuck it and he sticks his arm, I think, in a paper shredder, and it just chews his whole damn arm off, which is great. Really great stuff. Yeah, there's a multitude of really great kills and gore in this movie. However, I gotta say, none of the stuff made me cringe until The girl gets her fingers caught in a manhole.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Ouch.
and I was squirming in I was just like, oh Jesus Christ, oh man. And he's taking a piece of glass and he cuts her fingers off, and just like, oh my God, that's awful. We've got there's a great car wreck scene that I don't want to spoil, because I want some of our listeners to just watch this. But like, yeah, there's a blood spray where a head caves in a car crash. When she hits the guy with a car, which is just fucking gold. Really love this movie. Unfortunately, the ending with that I won't spoil unless you guys want to, but so bleak. It's such a goddamn bummer. But and I don't think it doesn't make me hate the movie, but you're just like, oh man, they were so close. But yeah, it's a good time. Literally like the worst hospital ever. It's just like, I think I would probably trust like the nurses from Silent Hill other than the nurses in this hospital. But yeah, this is a gem. This is a good time. All right, I'll shut up now. What did you guys think?
I know former guest and friend of the show, Brett, he watched this one and recommended. It might have been one that he mentioned on what we watched when he was a guest on here or something. But it's it takes a lot to make a zombie movie enjoyable anymore, just because the market is so saturated, and they succeed here. This is awesome. The only thing I would say is that it's a little bit of a missed opportunity. I want to see like I want to see like way more like weird botched plastic surgery zombies or something.
Right.
But it was some ridiculous scenes of frozen dicks, or burning and frozen dicks.
God,
awesome.
That whole sequence was fucked.
The tip of his dick hit the floor like a marble. Like,
well, I mean, yeah,
it sounded like a marble too.
Yeah,
Why did it make a clunk sound like that?
Yeah, it goes from a man getting a penis enlargement to burning it with hot water, I believe, like boiling water, then catching it on fire, and then using a fire extinguisher to freeze it. I mean, he went through like hell on his dick, but
yeah, he put burning cream on it at first or something.
Well, after he burned it with the boiling water, the girl was trying to help him and thought it was like an ointment, and then she dropped a match on. Yeah, it turned out it was very flammable gel of some kind, but just a pretty creative, fun zombie movie. I mean, a cool setting to put it in. Some really rad, zombies. The one they use on the poster and the promotion, like a half zombie's pretty cool. I thought it did a good job of making me anxious. Like when they first get there and he's very paranoid about this place. He's like right away. He's like, oh no, like we went to a shady hospital. And so he's sort of going around checking on everything and tries to stop it. And it's like, we know what he knows, but obviously his girlfriend doesn't. And it's just like one of those things where I felt so bad for him. They did a great job of ramping up the anxiety of like, oh shit, he's got to stop this. And then it goes all the way back through it again, because he wakes up and he's tied down to the bed and they're like, he had a panic attack, and he has to go right back in. They're like, we just sanitized everything again. We just got it clean. And it's like in movies where, I mean, they did such a good job where I'm just like, shut the fuck up and listen to what he has to say, because no one will listen to him. Yeah. He's not saying that like, you guys are not good at your jobs, or this is a shady hospital. He's trying to tell you there's a zombie in the other fucking room. Like, but no one, and it's very like frustrating. It's like when I have nightmares, it's like when literally like I have nightmares where I'm trying to tell somebody something and they won't listen. And it's like, it drives me nuts. So watching this in a movie, it really like amps up my anxiety, which, that's what it's made to do. It did its job well.
Yeah, for sure. And so I picked this movie for the show because I was in the mood for just a dumb, fun, funny, gory zombie flick. And then that's what I got. I didn't want anything with like some kind of like here's another zombie movie with a message, or here's
Or
a zombie movie.
heavy political undertones or something. Yeah.
Or here's another zombie movie where the humans are worse than the zombies. Just those are the tropes of zombie movies that I am tired of and played out. I just want a freaking zombie movie where people are just being devoured by zombies and people are trying to survive and get away. And that's what this was. It was definitely had some great funny moments. Yes, I totally felt so bad for the Michael character, and it just kept going downhill and downhill for him to the point where I'm like, is he gonna lose his girlfriend to this druggy guy that works at the hospital? Like, is this really gonna go this route? I mean, at that point where he couldn't kill his girlfriend's mother because she was turning into a zombie, and then so she ended up having to do it. That felt like the flip moment for not only his character but for her character as well, of like, I'm done with you. There's no coming back from this. I'm done with you as a person and as a boyfriend and all that, because like from that moment on, everything he would do, even when he tries to turn around and be the hero, and he's trying so hard to be the hero, like he makes that bomb to blow the door off, and then she just walks up to it and it's a sliding door and no one realized it, which is hilarious. But I'm just like, oh, poor Michael. He's trying so hard.
Everybody throughout the movie's like, what's she doing with you? She has a huge rack, which is, I feel bad for both of them because it's like, one, all they can focus on about her is that she has a large chest, and two, that she's way out of his league because of her large chest. And it's like, fuck right off. Both, like everybody, it's frustrating.
Exactly. And and you feel bad for him then, but I felt happy for him in the fact that no matter what everybody else thinks of him, they love each other, and she really does love him there at the beginning. So when that turn happens, I'm like, oh no. And then I'm thinking to myself, please don't tell me they're going to turn him into like the David character from Shaun of the Dead, where they're trying to make you hate him because he's such a bumbling idiot, and then he ends up like getting killed in a manner that would make us as an audience feel vindicated for dealing with his dumbness or whatever. But no,
right.
They still try to, keep going with him, because it's just every action he did from then on out until the sewer was, everybody would just roll their eyes at him, or even at one point, it felt like they were like purposely trying to leave him behind, as they were making their way to the sewer. So, yeah. So, do you want to talk about getting anxiety? My anxiety was for poor Michael through the whole last half of the movie, and it just doesn't get any better for him, unfortunately. But I feel like the one vindication of all that is, I feel like at least she came back around for Michael, and so.
Hits him with a car.
Well, but she didn't know. She didn't know.
I know.
But yeah, cool gore in it. A lot of gore. A lot of kills. A lot of sick minds at work. Was this a German film? I feel like maybe it was inspired from some
of
the no budget.
Belgium.
Oh, Belgium. Okay. Well, never mind then. Never mind then. But yeah, some sick stuff. Again, yeah, the dude with the flaming penis and all that. That was funny. One of my moments of like, oh my, was when they walk into some of the characters' first discovery of the zombie epidemic is a zombie with its head under the gown of a girl in stirrups. What looks like a guy going to town on her, but then pulls back, and there's all this like bloody, gory intestine mess that obviously came from the naughty parts. And I'm like, oh, this movie's going there. Okay, I'm on board. It's hilarious, funny.
Yeah, I agree with all those things. I had it's hard to like Michael to not. Like no one should get to wear black and white checkered like that, because it's just going to be Beetlejuice guy. Like I thought about him the whole time I saw him in that damn shirt. There was all the kills are great. It was fun. It was crazy. It was there's probably a scotch too much CGI blood splatter, if we're being honest.
Okay. Yeah.
Because there was a bunch, but it was really creative and, like you said, fun, and sick fucks did this, and that was great. And I really liked it until the end, and then fuck this movie, so I don't like it. So that's that.
Yeah.
So this movie can fuck off.
The ending could totally ruin it for you.
And it did. Sorry. I mean, it didn't for you, Andy. That's great. It did for me. So this movie can eat some shit. I didn't like it. Yeah, you don't do that. So,
I also forgot to mention I like the little zombie toad creature
what the
thing
fuck
in
was
the jar.
Yeah, it was a creepy thing though. If you were to think about shit that's in those jars, for something to fucking wiggle at you, it'd be like, fuck that.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of existed in the movie for a while. It was pretty cool.
Yep.
But fuck this movie.
Oh. We can't get into it. It'd be very spoilery. We can't. Okay.
I think they figured it out, those listening. Yeah.
All right.
Trying not to spoil it, but.
Well, I guess that wraps it up, I guess, then, for our look at Shudder originals and exclusives.
Oh, there's so many good ones, too.
Oh, yeah. We didn't even scratch the surface.
Not just because they're our sponsor, but.
Okay, so when I was picking movies for this, I was like, oh, I love this one. We should watch that. Well, we've talked about it on the show. Oh, I love this one. We should watch. Oh, we talked about it on the. So it was hard to. It was hard in that regard to pick movies for this episode, and I still ended up apparently picking movies that were talked about on the show with the Furies. So,
well, only two of us had seen it, so
yeah, that's true. All right, so that wraps up the movies portion of the show, but that's not all, folks. No, not by a long shot. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, it'll be our segments portion of the show. For that, though, you're going to hear a promo for our very own podcast network called the Prescribed Films Podcast Network. The PFPN is home to 30 different shows, including Brett and Tony with Ash and Abe, which is a podcast where four friends come together to discuss a set topic and then go randomly off topic in ways we never imagined.
So true.
Mostly because of Tony. Also, every other week they discuss a random B movie that they find on, Shudder. You can listen to Brett and Tony and all the other shows at thepfpn.com. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome back to the show. It's segments time here at Attack of the Killer Podcast. We're going to start out, as we always do, by turning the show over to you guys, the listeners. Here's Jason with shout-outs.
It's time for shout-outs! 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 Shout-outs!
All right, we just asked what your favorite Shudder originals and exclusives were. And man, we got some goodies on our Facebook page. We got Jacob McLaughlin. He says, Bliss is the best vampire movie that I have seen in a while. The Beach House is a blast of an eco-horror movie.
That is a good one, yeah.
It is, yeah. Host was also an effective little horror movie that was way better than it had any right to be. True. And while it's not technically a Shudder original and a Shudder exclusive, One Cut of the Dead is one of my favorite movies of the last 5 years. Hell yes.
Yep.
Yes, that's an example of two things I've brought up on this episode. One, loving movies about making movies, and two, dumb zombie movies
that are fun.
That are fun, yeah.
Yep. We got this guy named Brian Clark. He says, I'll second Bliss. It was a lot.
Yes.
It was like a lost Skip Inspector script.
Oh, okay.
Scare Me was an incredibly clever way to do an anthology horror for no money. Love that movie.
Yeah. Ditto.
So true. And Vicious Fun was a blast.
Yes.
And he said VHS 94 had a pretty dreadful wraparound, but most of the segments were excellent.
I can agree with all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don and Ellie says Impetigore and the Queen of Black Magic, if they count. I get lost in the original's exclusive debate, and never remember for sure. They were absolutely amazing and among some of my favorites of the past few years. I've been really wanting to see Impetigore. Other than that, maybe VHS 94 and Hellbender would be included as the majority haven't impressed me that much, and I find to hover around the above average range for the most part, with the vast majority of this year's output to not be worth that much. Come on, Don, it's out there. It's in there.
There's a lot of good stuff, Don.
Yep. Over in our Facebook group, we got Attacker Hot Rod Hutchinson says, The Last Drive-In is the greatest.
Hell to the yeah.
Some of my favorite Shudder original movies are Terrified, Yummy,
Great.
Yep.
Scare Package, hell yeah, The Mortuary Collection,
Yes.
Slacks, Vicious Fun, and Fried Berry.
All great.
Yeah.
Shudder is the greatest.
Way to go.
You're right, Hot
Good
Rod.
list.
Yep.
And then Attacker Rose, she left a comment. She says, there are so many amazing shows and movies Shudder puts out. I'll keep it simple and choose two of my all-time favorite Shudder originals, Psycho Gorman and Fried Berry.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's a double feature right there,
Oh.
folks. Yes.
Wait, I think Psycho Gorman was just an exclusive, so it probably doesn't count. It counts,
It
Rose.
It does.
Holy crap, those are good ones.
Even when Psycho Gorman came out on DVD, it still has the little Shudder logo at the beginning.
It's a Shudder
of it.
production, I think. So
Yeah. And then
Frig off.
we didn't have anything on Instagram, but the really cool thing is our pals at Shudder, they retweeted us on Twitter.
Oh, cool.
And we got
nice.
so many fucking comments. Okay, here we go. We got Groovesiffer at Groovesiffer, Blood Quantum Z. Or Blood Quantum Z.
Okay.
Host, Scare Me, The Cleansing Hour, The Mortuary Collection, The Queen of Black Magic, Slacks, Fried Berry, Caveat, Super Deep, Vicious Fun, and The Boy Behind the Door.
I think I've seen all those.
Yeah. Andrew Gnaley says, Host was good. Sure was. We got Keith Kekik. He says, Summer of '84 is my favorite movie on Shudder and one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Heck yeah, Keith.
Yeah.
Totally. We got Infernoian. Oh my gosh. I should have had Mike do this.
he'd do so much better.
I know. Unrulian. Lyan. Anyway, they say Satanic Panic. If it's if for the drill dough alone.
And if you have a Dollar Tree, shout out to Godsill near you, you can find that on Blu-ray for $1 right
Holy
now.
shit, Satanic Panic.
Yeah. Freaking. I get so tired of these posts on Facebook of Dollar Tree finds, and then I go to mine, and it's all Woody Allen movies.
I know. We got Barry Hoggard at B Hoggard says Carol Kane vibes in that. Oh, he must be post before that. I'm reading them backwards. Where was I? Jason Beam at Jason Beam 14 says Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched.
Is that you and Justin Beam's love child?
Yes, it kind of looks like us in his picture too. Kentucky Conjurer at KY Conjurer says Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched and All the Moons. All the Moons was visually stunning and the story was engrossing. That's twice now. I don't think I've seen
it to the list.
Yeah, I haven't
Yeah,
seen
I was
that.
gonna say that's one I haven't seen.
Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched. We got Nate Anderson at, oh gosh, that's a long word. At Xander6981 says, Mayhem is my favorite.
Yes.
A great watch, especially after a tough day at the office. C for Me was a decent update on the classic Audrey Hepburn thriller, Wait Until Dark.
Oh.
Ooh. We got Baron Von Gulo at Baron Von Gulo says, I love the ingenuity of Host, the writing and acting in Scare Me, and the sheer WTFness of Fried Berry. I also dared myself to watch Terrified since the fake head in the poster is so terrible, and I ended up loving that too.
It's good.
It's
it's definitely better than that.
Oh yeah.
So good.
It doesn't. It's not. The name of the movie is not false advertising. We'll say that.
Yeah, for real, for real. All right, well, that's not all. We got a voicemail.
Holy balls!
I know, from this guy. Here it is.
Hey, Attackers, Attacker Brian here, podcast listeners, fellow friends, kind of becoming family. You guys got to listen to me every 2 weeks on this phone call. And it sounds like this week we're talking about Shudder exclusives. And when we talk about Shudder exclusives, I think everybody on the podcast knows I'm going with The Last Drive-In. I love The Last Drive-In. I love Joe Bob. I love Darcy. I have a Patreon exclusive Joe Bob shirt. I have dolls that I just got, 2 plushies that I spent $60 on. So I have to go with The Last Drive-In. I love tweeting along with Tad on Friday nights, falling asleep on the couch because I'm old and I stay up way too late. I hope you guys enjoyed The Last Drive-In and all the other amazing stuff Shudder's putting out for us. Psycho Gorman. I mean, there's just a list that you could go on and on, but I go with The Last Drive-In. Hope everybody has a good week. Bye.
Hey, thanks, Godzilla.
Brian's right. He is just like family. Just like family, we don't answer his calls. We just let him go to voicemail.
That's right. Oh, well, y'all can be like family and leave your voicemail at 415-952-6857 or 415-95-AOTKP, and we'll ignore your shit too. All right, that is shout-outs.
And if you don't, we'll just disown you.
That's true. It's possible.
You're out of the will.
Speaking of disowning, we're not done yet. One more segment to go. It's time for Insane's Picks.
For this Insane's Picks Hall of Fame, we induct an actor from the golden age of B-movies. He was never able to escape the role that put him on the map of Kelton the Cop, nor do I think he wanted to. So for this Insane's Picks, we induct Ed Wood regular Paul Marco. Paul was born and raised in Los Angeles. He planned on being an actor his whole life. He took dancing and singing and drama lessons in high school. And he started doing a lot of stage work. His stage work caught the attention of the TV psychic Criswell, who predicted on his show that Marco would go far in the movie business. And much like most of Criswell's predictions, that didn't quite happen. A showbiz friend introduced Marco to Criswell and also introduced him to producer-director Ed Wood Jr., who made Marco part of his entourage and cast him in several of his movies, mostly as the bumbling Kelton the Cop. Paul appeared as Kelton the Cop in 3 of Ed Wood's movies, including Bride of the Monster from 1955, Plan 9 from Outer Space in 1957, and Night of the Ghouls in 1959. Paul never really made it far as an actor beyond Ed Wood movies. I mean, he played a couple of TV appearances in minor roles and also had a small part in the film The Young Savages in 1960. He did more work behind the scenes, however. He worked in the art department as a property man for different movies. Later in life, he founded his own fan club and would go to shows and conventions, signing autographs as Kelton the Cop. He would even reprise his role as Kelton in The Naked Monster in 2005. Sadly, however, Paul Marco passed away in 2006, just as he was hoping to make his big comeback. Thanks to Kelton the Cop, Ed Wood's films became one of the first connected cinematic universes. You're welcome, Marvel. So for that and making us laugh as the bumbling Kelton the Cop, we induct Paul Marco into this Insane's Picks Hall of Fame. And that is it, folks. That concludes another fantabulous episode of Attack of the Killer Podcast. Okay, Shudder, did we talk about you enough on this episode? Can you keep sponsoring the show, please? All right. And again, if you have not signed up for Shudder yet and this episode didn't convince you, get the free month from us at Attack of the Killer Podcast by putting in that promo code AOTKP.
Dude, seriously, we barely even scratched the surface of Shudder with all these titles tonight.
Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. So please check them out. Thanks again for listening, and we really appreciate it. And also special thanks to the attackers for keeping the show alive. You too can be an attacker by going to jointheattackers.com. All right, well, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next time on Attack of the Killer Podcast. See you later.
Oh no, could this be the end of? Attack of the Killer